earth is flat. And to all the people that know that as a fact, I love you. Because everyone else has been fed a lie, and they believe that lie, and they'll defend that lie. And why does this matter? Because there are consequences to living on a flat earth. There are a lot of people that know me in real life outside of the internet, and they're probably going to stumble upon these videos, and if they do, I run a risk because the people that I live with, I kind of rely on them to help me pay rent, and there's other people in my life that I don't want to lose, but the second they find out that I know that the earth is flat, and it's really, really obvious, they think they're on a ball floating through space as monkeys, all on accident. And I'm looking at the sun right now driving, and I just know. And I can't understand how they can't understand. Hello. So, to anyone out there who knows me in real life, the earth is flat, and we live in the Matrix, basically. Like, if you want to be your Neo, then that's as simple as it is. If you want to be God, you're God. You're not the goddess, and you're not the sun and the black sun, but you are co-creating this reality and this matrix. And right now, there's 144,000 bodies plugged into tubes in the real world. And just like in the Matrix, everyone is being siphoned for energy, and there is this deception placed upon everyone in order to keep them in the Matrix and to keep them as food. If you look at your brain charts, in any hospital and any doc, you look at your brain charts in any book and stuff like that with it in there, and you'll see that we have a reptilian core to our brain. That's our brain stem. It's what's developed first in the womb, the first part of our brain that's developed. And that's them rubbing it in our face that we're the reptilian slave class, that, we're reptilian at our core. And a lot of the stuff, when it comes down to breaking down the logic of how you going from someone like me who was an atheist, someone who didn't believe in any kind of God or spirituality, someone who fed completely into the lie of evolution and the lie of dinosaurs and the entire hoax of that we're monkeys and that we don't have any divinity and that, we live on a ball. It's insane. If the earth was really spinning, if it was really an oblate spheroid spinning, because of centrifugal force, because of the centrifuge force, if you were 150 pounds on the equator, you'd have to weigh 750 pounds if you were up in northern Canada in order to stay on the globe, in terms of gravity and everything. So you can just look into it, and it's very obvious that the earth is flat and that gravity is a lie. But to, my blood brothers and sisters, we know that the earth is flat and that we're going to get out of this matrix and we're going to bring forth heaven on earth for the benefit of all, and that this very, very hellish world that we live in will be coming to an end soon. At least that's my goal and my plan. But I intend to love all and exclude no one, and just living a life where I'm projecting love and just in social situations where I used to have anxiety, I would be focused on what other people were thinking, and I'd have all these scenarios running through my head and all these thoughts running through my head that were just negative, that weren't really helpful or conducive or anything that was going to be beneficial. And now I live a life where I was in the DMV today, and it gets a little nerve-wracking, a little scary in there, but I'm just sitting there in my mind. If you can bring forth heaven in your mind, you can bring forth heaven on earth. That's kind of what I've been trying to do, just trying to visualize my heart space, visualize projecting gratitude and projecting unconditional love to everyone and everything around me, and just being a generator of unconditional love and using my mind power instead of being anxious or thinking about anything else. Because honestly, in those situations, you're just reacting to what's happening. I was there to get my license replaced, and instead of thinking about or looking at people and thinking about anything other than unconditional love, that's what I was doing. I was just trying to project unconditional love. And I have found that in a lot of social situations and just in my life in general, I'm a lot happier. I'm benefiting a lot more from this whole situation, from this whole putting myself in that kind of mindscape of unconditional love and gratitude. And I've been doing it with my food every time I eat, and I've been doing it with just using that visualization techniques. And I used to look up something called tulpamancy, which is basically you can create an entity that exists within your own consciousness, and it's separate from your consciousness, and it makes its own decisions and talks to you. And tulpamancy, I was visualizing like an apple, just like a Granny Smith apple, and I was trying to impose it, hallucinate it into reality. And I was getting really, really close before I kind of stopped getting into it. I stopped really, really focusing on it. But to this day, I can still visualize an apple in really, really complete 3D detail and rotate it, move it in my head like I'm playing with Blender 3D in my head. Or Maya 3D, or any other kind of I used to design games and stuff like that. I'm very spatially intelligent. So for me, when I was in my teenage years, I played video games a lot, and it was a huge kind of method of escapism for me. So I kind of wanted to start making video games because I enjoyed the creative element of world building, and the process of it was very enjoyable and stuff like that. And it was a way to spend my time. That was not either playing video games or not being constructive, being depressed and stuff like that, or having the world imposed upon me and stumbling through life figuring out what to do. But I'm so grateful to know that the earth is flat, because it's opened my mind to so many things that have benefited me greatly. And the information within the community and within the Blood Over Intent community has been life-saving and has been enlightening, and I'm really, really thankful to be a part of the community. And everyone has been really, really generous and thankful, and that's just been really heartwarming, and it's been cool. I don't want to seem kind of corny or lame, and I'm not too good in front of the camera, and I tend to have a very scatterbrained mentality. But that's the only reason why I've kind of made it this far too, is because you have to have kind of an outside of the box way of thinking. You have to kind of be willing to put A and A together, and C and F together, and F together, and you just kind of have to be willing to do, instead of put A and B and put B into C, you kind of have to have a logic that you're willing to explore and be creative with, and be, I don't know the word to use for it, but that's the only way that you're gonna find your way through this life, is if you learn to entertain ideas. Because if you don't learn to want to be an intellectual, if you don't learn to want to learn, and to open your mind to these things. And even once you've learned, say, okay, what have I learned? Is it right? Is it wrong? Do I need to completely throw it out and start over again? Am I still just a newborn infant, you know, with tons of things to learn and to do still? Yeah, absolutely. And if you're not going to have the mentality of, my cup's still empty, let's fill it, you know, let's fill it,